I started reading this Michael Beckwith, and it's very powerful. He talks about life visioning, and being a victim is something that I personally have been stuck in, the victim state. I was there for a very long time. I had a very bad experience teaching, and a principal that pretty much told me that I was horrible at what I did, and this is my dream. I teach because I love to teach, and it threw me into a very bad place. And so it's a skill I've had to learn in my own life, and it's a skill that I've started applying to all my students because, and like I said, it's not to discount anything anybody's going through, because first problems need to be addressed and dealt with. But sometimes when you're stuck in a problem, you can get stuck in a victim mode. And when you're stuck there, it's really hard to stand up and do anything about it. So I just found some information that talked about what is a victim and what is a victor. So that's on the back, and you can read that, so I won't go through all of it too much. But basically, it's just a difference in attitude, not in your situation, because, and we all deal with kids that break our hearts. So, and sometimes it's a fine line between saying, are you really stuck in victim mode or are you hurting? So, something Sarah's going to talk about. But for people who are stuck in victim mode, it's just a helpless place to be. They're always stuck regurgitating the past and thinking about what wrong has happened in their life and never thinking towards the future of maybe how can I start to take some steps to solve this problem. So if you turn over your paper, my business coach, Malcolm Upton, he's with Action Coach, shared this with me not too long ago and said it is a teachable skill to be a victor. And there's a little acronym that goes with it. And it says when you're stuck in victim mode, you are making blame, so you're blaming other people for your problems. And I know I was there. You're making excuses for maybe, well, I don't have to get out of bed today because I've got the world against me, and so I'm just not going to. And so that's the excuses part of that. And then denial is just denying that, you know, that there's a problem going on that you can take part of to fix. And so blame, excuses, denial spell bed. And when you're stuck in bed, they say it's a comfortable place to be, but it's very helpless, and you can't accomplish anything from bed. So first step to that is to take ownership and say, you know, there's a lot going on in my life that I don't have control over, but there's got to be something I can control. So in my life, I took ownership. I might be stuck at this school, but I can start thinking towards the future of how am I going to get myself out of this situation. A lot of my students that I work with are bullied very severely, or have been through high school, and are graduated now and still stuck in that past state of mind. And so Sean and Danny came with me. We're part of a group through Minds Matter called Banish Bullying. And it's a powerful lesson that I found with people who have been bullied, because they're so, I mean, just stuck. I've got a student who's 19 now, and he was bullied 2 years ago in high school. And he's so stuck there that half of our lessons we don't even get through because we're always talking about what happened in the past. So, you know, I listened and we talked through it first, but at some point I kind of talked to him about how are we going to take ownership of this situation. And he said, well, I guess I'm not in high school anymore, I'm in college. And so it is my life, and I can make some changes. Acceptability is, did I say that right? Accountability. I'm sorry. Accountability is kind of taking some sort of responsibility. So in my student situation, his accountability was what can, I mean, it was not my fault this happened, but it is my fault that I'm still stuck in the past, because those people aren't a part of my life anymore, but they're not hurting from this. The only person I'm hurting is myself. So that was the accountability. And responsibility. What can you do? Is there something you can do to take charge of the situation? And for me, it was I quit my job and I started Minds Matter. That was my accountability, responsibility, ownership. But for my student, it was, I'm going to go out and make a new friend today. So he went out and sought other students that were kind of not fitting in or having problems, and now he's found a group of people, and he's much happier because he can talk through his problems. And I noticed that since we've kind of gone through this and talked about, you know, bad things do happen and we don't have control over them, but when you get stuck there, you're being a victim, and how to become a victor. I've noticed it's been very powerful. And then there's just a kind of visual, if you want to use that with anybody that you'd like to share the lesson with, and just kind of talks about down below the line, blame, excuses, denial, we're stuck in bed, and then talks about getting your oar and rowing. As adults, that would translate to the successful people in life, or the people that are above the line, are able to learn the skills of taking charge of their lives and not being a victim, but being a victor.